Ever feel like you need a decoder ring just to follow business jargon?
It could be like a whole other language sometimes, right?
Totally. And today we're tackling one of those phrases that's everywhere, multi-cloud.
Yeah, everyone's talking about it.
It's basically this idea of using not just one cloud provider like Amazon or Google, but several.
Instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, right?
Exactly. So instead of relying on, say, just Amazon for all their cloud needs, a company might use Amazon for storing their data, but then Google for its fancy machine learning tools.
Oh, actually, like using the best tool for the job.
Exactly.
In fact, one of the articles you shared mentioned a company that saw a huge performance jump just by switching part of its data analysis to a provider specializing in real-time analytics. And get this, they didn't even have to overhaul their whole system.
Wow, so it's not just about experimenting with different providers, it's a strategic move.
Absolutely. And, one term that kept popping up in my research was vendor lock-in.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that before, but never really understood it.
Basically, imagine pouring tons of resources into one cloud provider, getting everything set up just right, and then, bam, they jack up their prices. Or, even worse, their service goes down.
So you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because switching would be a nightmare.
Precisely. Multi-cloud helps you avoid that trap.
It's like having an escape route.
Exactly. Multiple providers give you more bargaining power. Plus, it's like each provider has its own superpowers.
Oh, like a cloud-based Justice League?
Yeah. One might be amazing at handling tons of data, while another is all about AI.
So companies can build their dream team of cloud services.
And that kind of flexibility is super valuable, especially with technology changing so fast.
Makes sense. Companies need to be able to adapt quickly.
Right. If a new technology comes along, they can just add the provider who's leading the charge in that area without messing up their existing setup.
It's like adding a new spice rack to your kitchen. You don't have to remodel the whole thing.
I like that analogy. And that ability to constantly evolve and improve can be a real game changer for businesses.
Okay, so multi-cloud, it's like having a Swiss Army knife of cloud services, right? And I'm sure but here, is it really that easy? Is it all sunshine and rainbows?
Well, not exactly. Imagine trying to conduct an orchestra, right?
Okay, I'm picturing it.
But each musician speaks a different language. They're all reading from different sheet music.
That sounds like a recipe for a chaotic mess, not beautiful music.
And that's kind of what managing multiple cloud environments can be like if you don't know what you're doing.
So basically you're saying it can get really complicated really fast.
Yeah, one of the biggest headaches is just trying to wrangle all these different platforms.
Because they're all different, right?
Exactly. Each one has its own tools, its own billing system, its own way of doing things. It's a lot to keep track of. In fact, one case study I came across talked about a company that ended up spending way more than they planned because they were using multiple cloud providers and lost track of the bills.
Oh, wow. So it's easy to get lost in the weeds. What about the tech side of things?
Integration is another big one.
Integration.
Yeah, making sure that data can flow smoothly between all these different cloud environments.
Oh, right, because it's no use having your customer data on one cloud and your sales data on another if they can't talk to each other.
Exactly. And sometimes the data is formatted differently or they're using incompatible APIs. It can cause major headaches.
Okay, so juggling different platforms, making sure the data plays nicely together. What about security? I imagine that's a whole other beast with multiple cloud providers.
Oh, absolutely. Security gets way more complex when you're dealing with multiple clouds.
Because you've got to secure each one separately.
It's like having to install a different security system in every room of your house and then making sure they all work together seamlessly.
Okay, so not impossible, but definitely requires a lot of careful planning and expertise.
Exactly. And that actually leads us to another approach that some companies are using, hybrid cloud.
Oh, yeah, we touched on that earlier. So hybrid cloud, it's kind of like a mix and match approach to the cloud, right?
Think of it this way. You have your own home office, right?
I do, yeah.
That's like your private cloud. You have complete control over it. You decide who has access, what security measures are in place. But sometimes you might need extra space for a specific project, or maybe you need access to specialized equipment you don't have at home.
So you rent a co-working space for a bit.
Exactly. That co-working space, that's your public cloud. You use it when you need it, but you still have the security and control of your own dedicated space.
So with a hybrid cloud setup, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds.
Exactly. You can keep your most sensitive data and applications, things like financial records or customer information, safe and sound in your private cloud.
Where you have total control.
Right. And then for things that require a lot of computing power, You can tap into the muscle of the public cloud. It's like having a turbo boost button for your business.
So you get the security and compliance of a private cloud, but with the flexibility and scalability of a public cloud.
Exactly. You can scale up or down as needed, you only pay for what you use, and you get access to a wider range of tools and services.
Okay, so hybrid cloud, it's like having your cake and eating it too, right? You get the best of both worlds. But I imagine it's not quite as simple as just flipping a switch between your private cloud and the public cloud. There have got to be some challenges there too, right?
You're right, it's not always smooth sailing. One of the trickiest parts is making sure your security is equally strong across both environments.
Because you don't want to have this super secure private cloud and then, I don't know, leave the public cloud side of things vulnerable.
Exactly. It's like locking the front door but leaving the back door wide open.
Makes sense. The sources we looked at really stressed having unified security policies and tools that cover both your private and public clouds.
Yeah, you need that consistency. And then there's the actual movement of data between the two.
Oh, right, because you might need to access something in your private cloud while you're working in the public cloud or vice versa.
Exactly. And the term you'll hear a lot is network latency.
Latency.
It basically means lag, like when you're trying to download a large file and it takes forever.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
It can be a real pain, especially if you're dealing with time-sensitive applications.
So it's not just about having the data, it's about being able to access it quickly and easily.
Exactly.
This is really highlighting the need for a solid strategy. It's not enough to just understand these cloud technologies. You need to know how to put them all together in a way that actually works for your business.
100%.
So for everyone listening who might be thinking, okay, this is a lot to wrap my head around, what's the one thing you want them to take away from all of this?
I'd say don't be intimidated. These cloud solutions, they're ultimately about helping your business thrive in our digital world.
They're tools in the toolbox.
Exactly. Just approach your cloud decisions strategically, be clear about what you want to achieve, do your homework, and don't be afraid to ask for help from the experts if you need it.
It's like putting together a puzzle.
In a way, yeah. You might need a few tries to get it right, but when you do, you have this amazing picture, this robust and adaptable cloud infrastructure that can really take your business to the next level.
It's been great digging into this with you. So much to think about.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And for our listeners, keep exploring those cloud possibilities. Remember, the best approach is the one that perfectly fits your unique needs and propels you toward your business goals. Until next time, keep innovating.